to start the recording and read the waiver. I have the chat up in the side. So as always, please tell me if you can't hear me or anything. It would just be so bad if I was talking to myself. In order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we'll be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable from this activity. For example, make sure that you've moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you are participating in yoga class or class involves lying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice and care as needed. William Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the healthcare advice of your provider before participating. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started in child's pose. I'm going to move my computer so you can see my mat. Bringing our big toes together, knees wide, melting your chest down towards your mat. Really just releasing our gaze here. Imagine all the tension is pouring out of your head and into the ground, knowing that you don't have to hold on to it any longer. The earth can take it. Spreading your fingertips wide and pressing your hips back towards your heels. Try to roll your shoulders away from your ears. Let's take 3 nice deep breaths here. One more deep breath in. Exhale it all out. Walking both hands over towards the right side, pressing your left hand on top of your right hand, but stretching out your side body here. Then coming back to center and walking over towards the left, pressing your right hand on top of your left hand. Then coming back to center, leaving your hands and your knees exactly where they are. We're going to come forward to swan. So just lightly bring your hips down. Don't force them down too much. Rolling your shoulders back and bringing your feet up. Imagine they could touch your head. Then come back to child's pose. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Last time, inhale swan, warming up your core and your back. And back to child's pose. Good, coming up to tabletop, making sure that your knees are right underneath your hips and your wrists are right underneath your shoulders. You're really spreading your fingertips wide, pressing especially into your pointer finger and your thumb. You're pulling your core up and in to have that nice neutral spine. Start to drop your belly, roll your shoulders back, looking up towards the sky for cow. Exhale into cat, looking towards your thighs. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Coming back to that neutral spine, we're going to do something a little different since we're all at home with our cameras off. No one can see you except for you. So you're going to make like this little circle with your spine. You're going to go over towards the side, come up into a cow pose, and then go over towards the other side, coming down into that cow. I think I said cow for the top, I meant cat. So you're just making circles while also doing cat-cow. This is really warming up your spine and helping increase spinal mobility. Then you're going to switch directions of those circles. Making sure that you're really pressing into your pointer finger and your thumb while you're doing this. so that you're warming up your wrists at the same time. Coming back to that neutral spine when you're ready, tucking your toes under and pressing back to downward facing dog, pedaling out your feet here. Pressing that chest back towards your thighs, just moving however feels comfortable to you. Then inhale up onto your tippy toes and exhale your heels down. 2 more, inhale and exhale. Last time, inhale up to your toes and exhale your heels down. Looking forward towards the front of your mat, start to walk your feet forward to a forward fold. Just hanging out over your legs here, bending your knees. You can grab opposite elbows and sway side to side. Warming up your hamstrings and your back. You can nod your head yes and no, always releasing that tension from your spine and your neck. Then start to release your bind. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Your fingertips can be on the ground, or you can press your hands into your shins. Then exhale, forward fold. Slowly, one vertebrae at a time, rising up to standing. Your head is the last thing to come up. Inhale your arms up. Exhale through heart center and down into that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, stepping back to plank and holding here, warming up your core. Imagine you're pressing out of the ground. Then lower your knees towards the mat. And then with your elbows hugging in towards your body, slowly lower your body down to the mat as well. Inhale up to baby cobra, just lifting your shoulders and chest off the mat. You can lift your hands up because no weight is in them. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale up to cobra. So there's still a little bend in your elbows, but this time you're pressing into your hands. And exhale, lower down. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra this time. If you're in upward facing dog, trying to get your thighs off the mat. And exhale back to downward facing dog. From here, bringing your knees back down into tabletop, crossing your ankles and coming back to a seat. We're going to stretch out our neck a little bit here. So placing your hands on your knees, roll your shoulders back, and then bring your right ear to your right shoulder. You can also hold on to your left wrist with your right hand and just kind of like move it around, pulling that arm away. It can intensify the stretch. And coming back up to center and go to the other side. You can again kind of pull on that right wrist with your left hand. If you're not feeling more of a stretch by pulling on your wrist, you can extend that arm out to the side. Coming back up to center and then looking down towards your lap, really rolling those shoulders back. And then looking up towards the ceiling. Coming back to center and just take some neck rolls. Releasing any tension. And then go back the other way when you're ready. Let's take one more in this direction. Good, coming back to center and start to roll your shoulders forward. Then take some shoulder rolls towards the other direction. And then rolling out your wrists. And then go the other way. Then put your hands down on the ground with your fingertips facing your body and your palms down on the mat. Just rocking side to side to stretch out your forearms a little bit. You can also kind of roll your fingers forward and back, like pressing your palms more down and like lifting them up a little bit. This helps release the muscles that get tight in your forearms from typing. And then flipping your hands over so your fingertips are still facing your body, but this time your palms are up. You can rock side to side, forward and back again, stretching out the other side of your wrist. And then coming back up to center, just shake your wrists out. Then clasp your hands behind your back, opening your shoulders. Trying to move your hands away from your body, broadening your collarbones. Then switch how you're interlacing your fingers so that the opposite thumb is on top this time. Releasing that, coming back to center and coming back into that tabletop, tucking your toes under and coming back to downward facing dog. Pedaling out your feet again. Lifting that right leg up towards the sky for three-legged dog. You can bend your knee and open up your hip here. Keep pressing your chest back towards your thigh. And then bring your knee into your nose for cheetah pose. Pressing it back to three-legged dog. Good. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale to your left elbow. Inhale, extend. And bring that foot through in between your hands, coming down onto your back knee for low lunge. Pausing here, rolling your shoulders back, broadening your collarbones like we just did in that shoulder stretch with your hands behind your back. Trying to make sure that your hips are square. And then press back to half split, straightening that front leg and flexing your front foot. Take an inhale and lengthen your spine. And on an exhale, fold a little deeper over that front leg. From here, keep that left hand down on the ground and inhale your right arm up, getting a little more into your IT band here. Then bring that hand back down, coming back forward to low lunge. This time, bringing your hands up to your thigh. First, pausing here, getting that little bit of a deeper stretch in your hip flexor. You can always stay down. You don't have to bring your hands up to your thigh. And then leaving that right arm on your right leg, you're going to extend your left arm up and over. This is one of my favorite stretches, stretching your hip flexor and your side body at the same time. Then bringing your hands back down to the ground, tucking your back toe under. We're going to come back into that twist. So your right arm goes up, your left arm is planted down into the ground. And bring that hand back down, stepping back to plank and pressing back to downward facing dog, pedaling out your feet. Noticing the difference in your leg. Maybe the back of your right leg feels a little more open since we did half splits on that side. Maybe they still feel the same, and that's fine too, just noticing. Then inhale your left leg up. You can bend your knee and open up your hip. No matter where your leg is, really pressing back towards your leg. So you're like an upside down V. Then bring that knee to your nose for cheetah pose. Good, inhale, extend, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale to your right elbow. Inhale up. Exhale, bring that foot through in between your hands, coming down to low lunge on this side. First, pausing here. You can come up onto your fingertips if you feel like the ground is a little too far away, and you can also get like blocks or textbooks or anything like that and put them underneath your hands. Trying to look to the front edge of your mat. That helps prevent your neck from straining. Pausing here for one more inhale. One more exhale. Then coming back to half splits, straightening your front leg, flexing your toes all the way towards your face. Again here, making sure that your hips are square. So really pulling that left hip back and pushing that right hip forward. And you're going to keep that right hand down on the ground this time and extend your left arm up towards the ceiling. Then coming back down, coming back into that low lunge, and either staying there or bringing both hands up onto your thigh. Making sure that back leg is at a diagonal line. So you're not like having your hip and knee stacked. You're really bringing your hips forward. And then leaving your left arm on your left leg, extending your right arm up and over. Really rolling your shoulders away from your ears, even here. Then coming back down to the mat, planting that right hand down. Inhale your left arm up. You can tuck your back toe under and bring your knee up off the ground. Then bringing that hand back down, stepping back to plank, holding here. Just tipping both your feet to one side for side plank. It doesn't matter which side. Then coming back to center and going towards the other side. Good, coming back to plank, and we're gonna do each side one more time. You guys got it. Coming back to plank, then going to side plank on the other side. We're almost done already. Coming back to plank and pressing back to downward facing dog. This time coming down to child's pose with your knees together and your arms behind you. Just really releasing your lower back and your hips. You can have your palms facing up, helping to release your wrists here. Just reconnecting with your breath. Taking 2 nice deep breaths here. One more breath in. Exhale it all out. Coming back up to tabletop when you're ready. Tucking your toes under and pressing back to downward facing dog. We're going to bring that right foot forward in between our hands, coming up to warrior one. So that front knee is right over or right behind your front ankle. Your back foot is pressing that back edge of your back foot into the ground. Your hips are pointing forward like headlights on a car. And you're going to start to straighten your front leg and fold over that leg into pyramid pose. You can leave your legs where they are, or you can also step that back leg in a little bit if that's more comfortable to you. Making sure that your hips are square, just like in half splits, you're pulling that, whatever leg is in front, you want to pull that hip back and whatever leg is in the back, you want to push that hip forward. Take an inhale and lengthen your spine. And then exhale, fold a little deeper over your front leg, even if it's just a millimeter deeper. And then look forward towards that front foot and step your back foot up to meet your front foot. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees and step your right foot back to warrior one with the other foot in front. So your left foot's in front this time. Again, trying to square your hips towards the front of the room. You can always leave your hands at heart center. If you feel like when you bring your hands up, your shoulders also go up. Holding here for one more breath in. One more breath out. Straightening your front leg and folding down into pyramid. You can step that back foot in. Trying to have both feet pointing towards the front of the room. You can also move around a little bit and feel where the stretch feels the best to you. And then looking forward towards the top of your mat, you're going to step your back foot up to meet your front foot. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Reverse swan dive, bring your arms all the way out and up. Exhale your hands to heart center. Then you're just going to tip over towards the right, bringing your right hand down onto your leg and your left arm over. Coming back up to center, tip over to the other side. That left arm just connects to your leg anywhere but your knee. Coming back up to center and coming into that forward fold once again. From here, walking your feet out so they're the width of the mat or a little wider. Your toes face out and your heels point in. Then you're going to squat down into that Malasana squat. With your elbows pressing your knees away, really pressing those hands together. Trying to lengthen your spine as much as you can, rolling those shoulders back. And then extend your arms out in front of you, trying to hold your legs exactly where they are. Then we're going to start to bring our right arm out to the right and our left arm up for a twist. Then coming back to center, bringing that left arm out to the side and our right arm up. This pose is so good for your hips. Then coming back to center and back into that forward fold, having your toes point forward, and then walk your feet to about hips width apart, bending your knees a lot, and then walking your hands all the way underneath your feet with your palms facing the sky. Your toes come all the way to your wrist creases, coming into gorilla pose here. You can try to straighten your legs a little bit more. You can again nod your head yes and no like we did in that first forward fold. Releasing that bind, and then this time holding onto your peace fingers with your big toes with your peace fingers. Lengthen your spine, and then fold down over your legs, bringing your elbows out to the sides, pulling yourself down over your legs into that forward fold. Try to fold a little deeper, and then releasing that. Just bring your hands down to the ground and step back to plank. Bring your knees gently to the mat, and then lower your body all the way down. Coming up to upward facing dog or cobra, stretching that back out. Especially after Malasana, I always feel like I want to stretch my back the other way. And then pressing back to downward facing dog. Looking forward towards your hands, stepping that right foot through in between your hands, opening up to warrior two. Good, so again, that front knee is right over your front ankle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Pressing anywhere on your back leg except for on your knee. Then coming forward to side angle with your forearm on your thigh. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. This is called dancing warrior. We're gonna do it one more time. Inhale, back. Exhale, forward to side angle, holding here. You can bring that top arm up and over your head, or you can leave it pointing towards the ceiling, and you can bring that bottom hand to the ground or to blocks or a book. You can also bring that top hand behind your back and bind with your thigh. Then staying exactly where you are, just start to straighten your front leg. So you're in triangle or bound triangle if you have that bind. Really rolling your shoulders back. And then bending back into your front knee, bringing that left arm up towards the ceiling again. Coming back up to warrior two. Bring your hands down to the mat. We're going to step back to three-legged plank. So that right leg is up. You're going to lower all the way down to the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Bring that left leg up and then stepping it forward in between your hands, opening up to warrior two. Having your hips open towards the side of the room and making sure that your front knee is tracking towards the pinky toe side of your foot instead of caving in towards the big toe side. You're shooting energy out of your fingertips. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, come forward to side angle. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, side angle. Last time, inhale. And exhale, this time staying here. You can stay exactly here, or you can bring that top hand down to the bottom hand down to the ground. You can bring that top arm over your head, or you can bring it behind your back and bind with your thigh. Rolling your shoulders open towards the ceiling. Pausing here for one more breath in. One more breath out. Then start to straighten your front leg, coming into bound triangle or triangle, depending on where you are. Then starting to bend back into your front knee, coming back up to warrior two. Bring your hands down to the ground, stepping back to three-legged plank with your left leg lifted. Lower halfway or all the way down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Coming down to a child's pose once again. Either variation that you want this time. Your knees can be wide or they can be together. Just really releasing your forehead down to the ground. Taking two more nice deep breaths here. Then coming back up to tabletop when you're ready. Tucking your toes under, pressing back to downward facing dog. We're going to bring that right foot forward to pigeon. So bringing that right knee to your right wrist, and your right foot can come across to the left. You can make your shin as parallel as you want to the front of your mat. The more parallel it is, the more intense the stretch is on your outer hip. First thing here before we fold, really rolling your shoulders back, trying to move around so you feel where it's the most intense stretch on that back hip flexor, so on your left hip flexor. And then when you're ready, you can start to fold. Sometimes I like to fold my arms and then put my head on top of my arms or my hands. When you fold forward, you should feel more of a stretch in your outer hip or that front leg in general, as opposed to when you're up, feeling it in the hip flexor of your back leg. Making sure that no matter where your right foot is, you're flexing it to protect your knee. You can either stay here or turn this into a twist by bringing that left arm underneath you and that right arm goes forward. This intensifies the stretch, so if it's not comfortable, you can come back to where you were, or you can put like a pillow underneath you or something. And then slowly coming out of the twist, if you're there, pressing back up onto your hand, tucking your back toe under. We're going to press back to three-legged dog, and then release that leg down. Inhale your left leg up, stepping it forward into pigeon. Bring your knee to your left wrist. You can scoot that back foot back some more to get more into your stretch. Pausing here, giving this side just as much time as you gave the other side. You guys are doing great. When you're ready, you can start to fold over that front leg, either onto your forearms or fold all the way down, making sure to keep flexing that left foot. You can stay here or start to bring that right arm underneath you for a twist. That left arm can stay going out in front of you. When you're ready, coming out of your twist and out of your fold, tucking your back toes under, stepping back to three-legged dog, and then release that leg down. You're going to walk your feet to the width of your mat and walk your hands back towards your feet about 4 inches. And then you're going to start to bring that left arm across, so you're grabbing onto your right ankle with your left hand. Coming into a downward facing dog twist. Coming out of that pose and then going towards the other side, so that right hand goes across to your left ankle. Coming out of that twist when you're done, and then bringing your knees down to your mat and just sitting back on your heels. Just bring the backs of your hands together. You can kind of move your fingers forward and back, releasing your wrists here. And you can take some wrist circles and go the other way. Then coming up onto your knees, we're gonna come into camel, but one side at a time. So you can have your toes untucked and you can also tuck your toes under. I might start with my toes tucked under. Then you're gonna bring your right hand back to your right ankle or heel. Then your left arm goes up. Then you can come behind you a little bit, pressing your hips forward. This is a really good way to start practicing camel if doing the whole pose at one time hurts your back. Then coming back up to center, you're going to bring that left arm down to your left foot. Your right arm goes up and back. Make sure you keep pressing your hips as forward as you possibly can. Then coming back up to center, we're going to do 2 more camels. So you can either do one side and then the other side, or you can come back with both hands, grab onto your heels and press your hips forward. You can let your head release back. Holding wherever you are for one more inhale, one more exhale. Then coming back up to center, just sitting back on your heels for a little break before we do the other side or the second time. And when you're ready, coming back up, this time you can untuck your toes if you want to try that, or you can leave your toes tucked. It's up to you. Coming back into your second camel. Making sure you're keeping breathing here. Taking one more breath in and out. Coming back up to center. Then sitting back on your heels, making sure that your spine stays nice and tall at first. And then once you've sat up for a second, you can start to fold down into either variation of child's pose that you want. Just releasing your back. You can kind of rock from side to side a little bit. Just move around what feels good to you. Taking one more breath in here. One more breath out. Coming back up to tabletop. And now we're going to come into frog. So I would turn on the long side of your mat, and then you're just going to bring your knees as far apart as you can get them. You can like put something under your knees, and then you want your legs to be at 90-degree angles. So your lower legs, your calves, like come out from your knees, and then you're flexing your feet, and then you can come to lying down on your mat. You can put like blankets underneath your knees, or you can also roll up your mat so that your knees have some padding. This is a really good pose for your hips. You can just kind of lie down on the ground, or you can come down onto your forearms, whatever feels better to you. Making sure you're really flexing your feet because you do want to protect your knees. This is a really intense pose, but it is good to hold it for a minute so that our hips can get released into it. Making sure you're keeping breathing again. Taking one more breath in here and one more breath out. Then I like to bring my feet together and then press myself up and out and bring my knees together. Coming back into tabletop, we're gonna cross our ankles and come back to a seat. Coming into butterfly. So bringing our feet a little bit more away from us than we normally would. So you have like a diamond in between your legs. Lengthen your spine, roll your shoulders back, And then fold your head towards your feet. You don't have to touch your feet, just that's the direction you're going. Then coming back up to center, bringing your feet close in towards you for that kind of normal butterfly, rolling your shoulders back and lengthening your spine. You can hold on to your feet. You can stay here or start to fold forward if that's comfortable to you. Then coming back up to center, extend your legs out in front of you and lengthen your spine. Start to fold forward, either bringing your hands next to your legs or reaching for your toes. Opening up the entire back of your legs and stretching your back. Coming back up to center, hugging that right knee into your chest. Stretching out that outer hip here. You can kind of rock side to side. Keep flexing that left foot, really engaging your leg. Then we're going to twist towards the right. You can hug that knee or you can bring your arm across your leg, pressing yourself deeper into the twist. Releasing that and coming back to center. We're going to switch sides, hugging that left leg in, extending your right leg out, really flexing your foot to keep it engaged. Sitting up nice and tall. Your left foot is down on the floor. You can keep hugging that knee or bring your arm across for a twist. And then coming back to center, releasing that twist. Bring your feet to the ground and your knees up. Your hands can be behind you and just windshield wiper your knees from side to side, releasing your back and your hips here. We've done a lot of hip stretches, so this will just help release everything. Then bring your knees back up to center. Scoot forward so you have enough room to lie down. Bring your hands to your sides, then slowly lower down to the ground. Bring your knees into your chest and rock from side to side, releasing your back on the ground. Grabbing onto outside edges of your feet, bringing your knees towards you and your feet up into happy baby. Trying to release your tailbone and your shoulders down to the ground. And then bringing your feet down to the mat, bringing your feet together and your knees wide, one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. Feeling your breath and your heartbeat. Relaxing your shoulders down. Releasing any tension from your face. So those little muscles next to your eyes and your forehead and your jaw are all releasing here. You can either stay here or start to extend your arms and your legs out on your mat. Completely relaxing here, knowing that all your hard work is done. And all you have to do is relax in Shavasana. You're welcome to stay here for longer, but if you would like to wake up with me, start to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms over your head for one final full body stretch. Hug your knees into your chest, giving yourself a big hug, thanking yourself for making this time for your mind and your body today. Rolling over onto your right side. When you're ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat with your hands at heart center and your eyes closed. Thank you so much for coming and practicing with me today. The light in my heart honors and cherishes the light inside of each and every one of yours. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for coming to Yogalates. I hope you liked it. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm going to stop the recording now.